We keep on moving, we keep on moving along, we keep on rolling. No, we ain't slowing it down. We keep on moving, we keep on moving along, we keep on rolling. Yeah, no, we ain't slowing it down.
Let's go. We ain't slowing down, baby. Come and show me how. Gotta do it right now. You know you gotta hold me down. Can I let the moment pass? Good things they never last. Pull up in a whip, you know I had to hit the gas. Yeah, that's premium. Pull up with a team and ain't worried about the other side. They know that they ain't beating. I'm on everything I love. Work to the man above. Keep it cool, calm, collected. At this point, you get the message. Life is hectic, but we gotta keep it rolling. No, gotta keep it moving like we stole it though. Rolling with the punches, giving hits like we are Interscope. Even though I'm clocking, punching in, I'm independent though. Staying prayed up, ain't nothing gon' phase us. Ain't never gon' let a lame say what they just made up. I never take a pay cut, we getting what we worth in. I never change the blueprint cause we know it's really working.
Keep on moving,
Moving,
we keep on moving along.
keep it moving, keep it
rolling.
rolling.
No, we ain't slowing it down.
Never slowing down,
Keep
never
on moving,
moving.
we keep on moving along.
Keep it moving, keep it
rolling.
rolling.
No, we ain't
Keep it rolling,
slowing
keep it
it
moving. We
down.
ain't never gonna lose it. Cause we in it for the movement. If I'm lying, then I'm flying. Don't play into the amusement. If we trying, we ain't dying. Never sleep, never sleep, never. The moment that you rest your head, they think they can't compete. If you gotta skip steps, then the plan is not complete. Get your reps in, get your reps in, get your. Never rest on a past success. You gotta love what you do if you tryna be the best.
Keep on moving,
Moving,
we keep on moving along.
keep it moving, keep it rolling.
No, we ain't slowing it down.
Never slowing down, never
Moving,
moving.
we keep on moving
Keep it
along.
moving, keep it moving, keep it
rolling.
rolling.
No, we
Keep
ain't
it rolling, keep it
slowing
moving. We ain't never gonna lose it.
Who's been to Epstein Island, mate? Yes, we're back for another one, another little live stream, yes, with yours truly. And I hope you're all well. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever and whatever you're doing in the world. I hope you're well. I've been busy all day. I've been really busy all day. I've been working all day on various little projects and things that have to be done to keep the old the boat above water while there is water in the river. How long is that going to be going on for? I don't know. We're in serious droughts as it appears at the moment. Lots of clouds outside, but still no rain. No rain whatsoever. No, really weird. Apparently I was listening to the radio. It's the climate change. Yes, it's the climate change. If you believe such a thing. What do you mean there's no such thing as climate change, Gaz? What do you mean? Do you know what I mean? What do you mean?
Don't talk like one of them. You're not.
I know. I've got my own opinions on all this sort of thing. I've got a prediction. My prediction is the weather will change, the climate will change, and then autumn will come, and then it will go really autumnal, and then winter will come, and it will get really cold and icy, and they'll be going, oh, it's so cold, it's so much snow, it's a climate change. And that's my prediction for the future. Too many laughs, guys. I know, God forbid that it's going to be hot in the summer. You know what I mean? That's a weird one, isn't it? Who would have thought we would have had heat in the summer? Anyway, who's here? Too Shy is here, everybody. Yes, Too Shy is here. And the beautiful, wonderful, marvellous Beth Gish is here, everyone. Oh, yes. And the old beard's coming along nicely, anyhow. I'm going to get it down here, I think. About down there. About there. About there. Anyway, where? There. Yeah. Where? There. There, yeah. Anyway, so what have we got for you today? I haven't deeply delved. I don't really deeply delve. This is my hobby, you know what I mean, more than anything else. It's not doom stuff, it's just news. And they say no news is good news. And that is probably true. So let's have a look at the news, shall we? And what have we got first? UK supports Ukraine 100%, Burnham says, after Russian drone warning. Oh, what could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? Oh, I don't know. All sorts, really. A lot of things are going wrong at the moment, aren't they? But we'll get into this. UK Prime Minister, this bloke,
Imagine what, imagine no more.
Yeah, well, imagine if Russia get the arse about us supplying Ukraine with weapons that are striking into Ukraine. Imagine that, Andy Burnham. Can you imagine that? You don't really want to imagine it, to be fair, but it's... UK Prime Minister Andy Burnham has said London will continue to support Ukraine 100%. I'm glad he said London, because hopefully then it's just London that's going to be involved in the future if there is some sort of issue, and it won't be all of us, because I don't live in London, so I'd be quite happy not to be there. Defy Tyrants is here, everybody. How you doing, Defy Tyrants? How you doing? Good to see you. What does it say? Continue to support... Andy Burnham said London will continue to support Ukraine 100% after Moscow warned of consequences following confirmation that British-made drones were used in recent Ukrainian strikes in Russia. We are not fair weather friends. We will be there in Ukraine's hour of need, and that won't change, he said. Brilliant. Brilliant. So, I don't know how they sort of think we might go to war with Russia. I don't know how they think that's going to work. I was watching a thing on another place on the internet, and by the looks of it, it looked like it was from like a Russian media outlet. And they had the translation. Obviously, I don't know how genuine it is because I can't speak Russian, but I could read the translation if it was such a thing. And they were saying basically that how because of the UK's involvement now, if they wanted to, what they would do is they reckon 3 missiles, just 3, and this country will be finished. Just 3 missiles. That's what they were saying in this thing. I was like, this don't sound very clever, does it? Don't sound very clever. And then you got Burnham. I mean, would you ever see these people go to war? Would you ever see these or any of their kids go to war? I very much doubt it. The Russian embassy in the UK earlier accused Britain of deliberately opting for an escalation of the Ukraine crisis, saying the deeper its involvement in the conflict, the higher the price it will pay. This speaks for itself. Kiev has stepped up long-range attacks on Moscow and other Russian regions, targeting oil refineries and warehouses of the largest online retailer, Wilburys. Asked on Tuesday about the Russian threat, Burnham maintained that the UK was providing support to the Ukraine so that Ukraine can defend itself, and it's been the British position all the way through this conflict. By previous prime ministers, it remains the case with me. But you ain't even got a mandate. You weren't even, in my eyes, legitimately elected, mate. You weren't even legitimately elected. 25,000 more or less votes in Makerfield, and then you're prime minister. That don't sound very legitimate to me. This is not the first time that Russia has warned the UK over its role in providing Ukraine with drone technology and Storm Shadow missiles. The Russian embassy said London's actions will inevitably carry consequences for which it will have to answer, but it did not elaborate on the type of threat Moscow was considering. The latest phase of the war has directly affected Russia's domestic fuel supplies and dented the Russian economy. Has it really, though? Or is this just BBC propaganda? The UK has been one of Ukraine's biggest international supporters since Russia launched its full-scale invasion in February 2022. Was it a full-scale invasion? Do you know what I mean? If you look back at World War II, when you see, like, when the Germans, do you remember the Germans? Yeah, that lot, right? When they went through the, what was it called? The Maginot. Was it the Maginot Line? Maginot? Something like that. There was like the French on the border. I don't know if you know this. The French on the border had all these gun emplacements along the Maginot Line. But then there was the Ardennes. And the Ardennes was a forest, right, that was in between these battlements, because they didn't think anyone would go through the deep forest of the Ardennes. Well, of course, the Germans went straight through it and smashed them to bits.
The Führer couldn't have said it better himself.
Cheers, mate. And that's a true story. So, if they think that that was a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, it didn't really look like it to me. You know, when I watched that from the beginning of it all, it didn't really look like it. And they called it themselves a special military operation. You know, when you see a full-scale thing, you've got to look to the Americanos, because they just blow up everybody and everything. That's full-scale normally. That's how you do it. You know what I mean? There's just destruction and death everywhere. Everywhere. Who's been to the Epstein Islands, mate? Everyone! Oh, yeah, I just thought I'd mention it. Anyway, so the British companies are known to have built drones supplied to Kiev. A military source confirmed to the BBC that UK drones had been used in recent attacks on Russia that reportedly caused more than £35 billion worth in economic damage. The Kremlin has regularly singled out the UK, along with the US, for Red Bull, for its role in arming and backing Kiev politically and financially since the start of the war. It was London, then under Boris Johnson's leadership, that supplied Ukraine with very effective anti-tank weapons that helped to stop Moscow's advance on Kiev in the first weeks of the war. They weren't. Am I wrong in thinking they didn't actually march on Kiev or try to at that point? I think they were just in the Donbass, weren't they? Anyway, the UK has since provided more modern weaponry and has also been actively training Ukrainian soldiers. In July, Burnham showed that Britain's support would continue by making his first international visit as Prime Minister to Kiev. On Russian state TV channels, the anti-UK rhetoric has intensified in recent weeks, with invited experts and lawmakers regularly calling for strikes against the UK. This is the sort of thing I was watching. So are they gearing up the Russians to sort of say, yeah, come on then, let's just do them. Let's just do it. Let's have it. See what public opinion is, and then let's just do them. We need to put our foot down somewhere. We need to make. This is all hypothetical, but if they need to make a statement, I think they could make a pretty big one over here if they did somewhat drastic. And again, hopefully, it's just London that's at war with them, and not the rest of the UK. Just London. If London wants to go to war with Russia, that's all right with me. Just London. Leave the rest of us out of it. And anyway, on Russia's experts lawmakers against the UK. Russia currently controls approximately a fifth of Ukrainian territory, but its forces have had very little success on the front line for months. Nevertheless, casualties have continued to mount. UN officials say last month's civilian death toll was 437 people in Ukraine, was the highest since May 2022. In Russia, a foreign ministry spokesman told the TASS news agency on Tuesday that in the past week, 69 people, including 3 children, had been killed. That's tragic. Defy Tyrant says the UK only has about 150 fighter jets. Russia has 1,300. I don't think the UK could beat Russia without help. The thing is, they've got the hypersonic missiles, haven't they? And they are absolutely nuclear. You know, they've got the nuclear capabilities. I don't know. Either way, nobody's going to win if it starts like that. Nobody's going to win. We're all going to lose, you know. And we've got the point for me is we've got so-called leaders that haven't even got a mandate. There should be a general election, right, to get this squared up. But there won't be, because it's, in my opinion, it's just all corrupt and nonsense. But the outcome of any sort of confrontation with somebody like Russia is going to be devastating for this country. Absolutely devastating. Is that what they want? You know what I mean? There's so much debt in this country and the unemployment's going up. We'll get into that later. Anyway, if you're watching this and you got this far, please subscribe. Please press the thumbs up button. Thank you very much. Defy Torrents. Yes, Russia has more nukes than the US too. I don't think, I mean... Well, we'll see, won't we? Top donors of military aid to the Ukraine. The United States, $73.6 billion. The United States, $73.6 billion. Germany, $28.4 billion. United Kingdom, $18.1 billion. Denmark, 12 billion. Netherlands, 10 billion. Sweden, 10 billion. Norway, 8 billion. France, 7 billion. Canada, 6 billion. Poland, 5.1 billion. So they have had all that money and they're still fighting. That makes sense, don't it?
Don't talk like one of them. You're not.
I know, but it's money, and it's like, I know it's not real, but at the end of the day, there's some big numbers, aren't they? You know what I mean?
What?
Yeah, that's a lot of money, mate. That's an awful lot. Imagine the things you could do to benefit people with that sort of money. But this is what they spend to defeat an enemy. And me personally, one thing I think this all stems out of as well is the reason they all hate, or the system hates the Russians so much. It's because if you remember when we had the COVID, do you remember that? Do you remember when it stopped all of a sudden? Do you remember what happened the day before that? The day before it all stopped? Well, if you look into it, I think you'll find that the day before it all stopped, Russia went into Ukraine. Yeah, there's a little puzzle for you. Yeah, Russia went into the Ukraine, and all the narrative changed overnight. All of it. COVID gone. War in. Unbelievable. Gun is here, everybody. Unbelievable the amount of money's been spent. Figures include weapons, equipment and financial assistance for military purposes. Source, Kyle Institute for the World Economy. In the latest Russian attacks on Ukraine, 17 people were killed, including 10 in a village of Perchity in northeastern Ukraine. Rebel. Early on Tuesday. Private homes, a cafe, a post office were hit as 2 missiles claimed the lives of 10 villagers. Elsewhere, 3 Ukrainians died in Sumy, 2 in Zaporizhzhia and 2 in Kherson. Moscow's warnings to the UK comes after a wave of Ukrainian strikes on Russia. 5 people were killed in a residential area of Rostov region in the south of the country at the weekend. Hundreds of drones have been launched by Ukrainian forces towards the Moscow region in the past 2 days alone. Regional Governor Audrey Vorobov said on Tuesday that a 10-year-old girl was hurt and a Wilburys warehouse was damaged. As well as developing imported drones, Ukraine has been able to use homegrown drone and missile technology in recent weeks, including its FP-5 Flamingo cruise missile. In a separate development on Tuesday, the UN nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, said it had been informed that a drone exploded at a bus stop used by staff travelling to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in the Russian-occupied southern Ukraine. The IAEA said it had been told by the Moscow-installed plant director that 1 person was killed and another 3 seriously injured. It did not say who carried out the attack. Who did it? Well, it weren't North Korea, was it? No nuclear safety or security damage was reported, the watchdog added. Monday night saw heavy Ukrainian strikes, with Russian officials reporting that some 620 drones had been flown towards the region surrounding Moscow. Russian air defences destroyed more than 180 of them. But several people were wounded, the officials added. On Saturday night, Ukraine fired some 822 drones towards Russia, with 600 aiming for Moscow, according to its regional governor, who said the Russian capital had suffered one of the most massive drone attacks in recent memory. 7 deaths were reported across Russia. Now, the thing is, if they're going to keep firing hundreds and hundreds or thousands of drones into Russia, and they're being produced mainly and given by the UK, What would you expect Russia to do? What would you actually do if you was in charge of a country that was being attacked and supplied with all these weapons that are attacking you from another country? Is it by any chance that you might consider attacking the other country and blowing up the installations that are actually supplying those weapons to your enemies? I think that could be a potential outcome of all of this. The German government is planning to hand its BND and BVF spy agencies sweeping new powers to counter drone threats and hack and disrupt hostile actors. I don't know how long they're going to wear it. I really don't know at this point how long the mighty nation of Russia, the USSR, is going to put up with this. I really don't know. I don't know how much more they're going to take before... Is it going to get to the point where Putin and his generals say, look, this is unsustainable now. We have to make them stop. We have to stop them, or they will weaken us beyond repair. See, that's the thing. So you're attacking an enemy. Now, is the enemy likely to surrender? An enemy like Russia, it's not my enemy, but the West's enemy. Are they likely to surrender? Or are they likely to say, okay, enough's enough, let's just have it then. Let's just go for it then. Right, you've pushed us too far now, we're just going to do you. Nazulium is here, everybody! Sounds like the UK fighting an illegal war. In a way, it's not legal to give weapons of mass destruction to foreign countries without a permit. The thing is, we have been at war, haven't we? We are at war. They just not declared it. I said this years ago. I said this a long time ago. We are actually, I think we are all in a third world war, really. It's just, it's not playing out at the moment like we, traditionally what we think of as a war on that scale at this point. But now Russia's actually making threats. And like I say, I actually saw Russian media discussing how easy it would be just to send 3 missiles, just 3, and in strategic places, and that's it. This country's into turmoil. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? It makes me wonder what's going to happen, I've got to tell you. And it's the money. You think the fucking money that they spend. Imagine the things you could do for people in a good way with all those hundreds of billions. It's incredible insanity. And they go on about climate change, don't they? But they don't scream about the wars, do they? The climate activists. You don't see them screaming. They go on about plastic straws and microplastics and car exhausts and cow farts, don't they? They don't go on about blowing up oil refineries and just all this other crap. Anyway, what have we got here? A bit more of it, really. UK-made drones strike targets inside Russia. British-made drones are being used to strike targets in Russia for the first time. The drones, built by 2 separate British companies, have been used in mainland Russia in widespread and successful targeting of military and industrial targets, including refineries and warehouses of online retailer Wilburys. The strikes, first reported by the Sunday Times, are said to have caused more than £35 billion worth in economic damage. A well-placed military source confirmed to the BBC the UK drones had been used. Russia's either got to let it continue and just keep getting pounded by these things, or they've got to put a stop to it. There's only 2 out scenarios. They either keep taking impact after impact after impact after impact and it just goes on relentlessly, or they strike at the heart of the problem. What would you do? If you was giving them advice, what would your advice to them be? The strikes first report... British manufactured Storm Shadow missiles had earlier been used in the conflict, although this new phase is having a far more decisive impact. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova has previously said drones using UK components and configurations have been used to attack Russian territory, including a fuel depot in the Kamensky district of the Rostov region. In April, the Ministry of Defense, MOD, announced it would supply Ukraine tens of thousands of drones. Tens of thousands of drones. Are we paying for them? Are we paying for them as well? Shouldn't we, if we're paying for them, shouldn't somebody have actually said to us, like in supposedly authority, by the way, we're going to spend tens and tens and tens, if not hundreds of billions on weapons to attack Russia, basically. Are you alright about that? Is that alright if we do that? They treat us like we're fucking idiots, don't they? And we're supposed to be in charge. Unbelievable. Including long-range strike devices in its biggest ever package. The MOD said its support for Ukraine is unwavering and would stand by its ally until it wins. If you're in Russia and you're high up in Russia and in the military and all that, and you're seeing this, because I can see it, so they can see it. So there's literally no end to this. Nobody's called. I don't think anybody ever called for restraint. I certainly didn't see that in the beginning of all this, when the Russians went into the Ukraine. I said instantly they should call. Britain shouldn't get involved. We should just call for peace. Try and get them to sit down and do talks. But no. Boris Johnson was off over there talking to Zelensky. Convinced him to carry on. And now they're getting some right proper stuff. Now, there's various scenarios. Is this all part of the greater plan? I don't know. I don't think so. The way COVID just switched round the minute the Russians went into the Ukraine, that makes me very doubtful that this is all by the design. But at the same time, I don't think Russia expected to be getting a bit of a battering like this. And if it carries on, I don't think... And they're looking at stuff, their statements like that. We're going to be in it till they win. I don't know. A spokesperson said, "We are committed to providing the equipment Ukraine needs to defend itself against Putin's illegal invasion." Okay, you want to talk about illegal invasions, do you? What about the illegal attack by the USA and Israel on Iran? Why aren't you calling that out, BBC and other media outlets? Why aren't you calling that an illegal invasion all the time and an illegal attack? Unbelievable, isn't it? It's not unbelievable, really, is it? This includes over 150,000 drones this year, cutting-edge stone cloak devices that hinder Russian air defences and innovative low-cost cruise missiles. The other thing as well, what's China making of all this? Because obviously if they did, you think about it, so if they did do Russia, right, which is our big if, I don't think it's going to happen personally. But if they did, what is China next? What's China looking at? When China looks at this, what's China thinking? They're really having a go at the Russians now, our ally. If they do them, are we next? Are they going to come for us then? Makes you think, doesn't it? On Sunday, Moscow's mayor said about 600 Ukrainian drones were launched towards the city overnight, with roughly a third of the drones being destroyed and 3 people were injured. A warehouse belonging to the Russian online retailer Wheelberries was hit. Wheelberries, known as Russia's version of Amazon, has been repeatedly targeted since July. Kiev said at the time it was targeting logistics hubs used by Russians to buy military equipment and distributing supplies to the Russian army. I mean, look at them explosions, man. They're everywhere. I don't know. I really don't know where this is. I think at some point it will have a flashpoint. I think that's what they actually call it as well, isn't it? A flashpoint. This is without the Iran stuff. This is without the Iran and the Americanos and everybody wondering what bewildering Trump's going to do next. Isn't it? Unreal. It's just the mad, mad world. And it continues. Could Britain's drone support for Ukraine push Russia towards a wider confrontation? Well, personally, I think it absolutely could. If you're watching this and you've just come across my live stream, hello, how you doing? All right, say hello in the chat if you don't mind. Give us a thumbs up, do the subscribe thing. Cheers, mate. How's the stream going, mate? Is it all right?
It was fucking biblical, mate.
Oh, nice, great. Russia's latest warning to Britain over the supply of drones to Ukraine highlights how Western military assistance is increasingly moving beyond conventional support and into capabilities that directly affect targets inside Russian territory. The harder they hit, the harder they're going to push back, isn't it? Yin and yang and all that. Gunn says, in the past 3,800 years, there has been 268 years of world peace. Gee, is that true? Jesus, Gunn, where do you get that from? That's incredible, that is. Wow, that's interesting if it's true. I ain't saying it ain't true. And Defy Tyrant says, America has depleted its weapons in the Iran war. We couldn't beat Russia or China in a conventional war right now. No, I don't think you could. But see, this is the thing. They've all got everyone's got the nuclear option. That's the thing, isn't it? You know, when all else fails. I mean, I looked at a thing earlier, and it was saying how Trump's thinking about that, about the nuclear option. Because he cares so much about the Iranian people, doesn't he? He's going to nuke them all. Hypothetically, maybe, possibly, allegedly. Apparently, he's thinking about it. That's a scary thought in itself, Trump thinking, don't you reckon? Too many laughs, Gaz, some would say. Yes, right. Russia's latest warnings to Britain over the supply of drones to Ukraine highlights how Western military assistance is increasingly moving beyond conventional support and into capabilities that directly affect targets inside Russian territory. Moscow's threat of consequences therefore underscores a growing escalation risk as Britain deepens its military backing for Kiev. The Russian embassy in London said Britain would face consequences for supplying drones that Ukraine uses in attacks on Russian territory. The warning followed a report by The Times that British-made drones had been used in long-range strikes against Russia for the first time. Britain's Ministry of Defence did not confirm whether British drones were involved. The immediate dispute may centre on one weapon system, but the larger issue is the changing nature of Western involvement in the war. From military assistance to deeper battlefield involvement. Since Russia launched its full-scale invasion, they're all on that hymn sheet, aren't they, of Ukraine in 2022, Britain has been among Kiev's most consistent European supporters. London has provided weapons, training and financial assistance while repeatedly arguing that Ukraine must have the capabilities necessary to defend itself. Well, now they're saying they're going to have to win. That's a bit different, isn't it? There's the offensive and there's the defensive. It looks like they're on the offensive now, doesn't it? The latest drone programme represents a significant expansion of the support. Britain announced in June that it would provide 150,000 drones to Ukraine by the end of 2026 as part of a £752 million funding package. Drones have become central to the war because they allow both sides to strike infrastructure, logistics and military targets at comparatively low cost. For Ukraine, long-range systems have also been an important means of compensating for limitations in conventional air power. I mean, that's the other thing. They say full-scale war, but I've never heard the Russians have used the air power to strike. Have you? Have you ever heard that the Russians are using air power to strike at them? Like, you know, like bombers or fighter jets and stuff like that. So that's a full scale, isn't it? If you're doing a full scale invasion, that's everything, isn't it? That's everything you've got going in. That's aircraft. The first thing you do, innit, is take over the skies. So you've got free reign. That's how the Americans do it anyway, innit? The Americans, they clear the skies first so they can just litter you with bombs. They just litter you, don't they? Till there's nothing left. They're not as good at it, apparently, as the Israelis. The Israelis, as long as it's on a smaller scale, the Israelis are second to none at absolutely decimating an area and not caring who's there. We've all seen that now. Drones have become... Right, yeah. That creates a difficult distinction for Western governments. Supplying Ukraine with weapons for defensive purposes is politically easier to justify than providing capabilities that can facilitate strikes deep into Russia. See, this is the difference. You might be sending them... So the UK might be going, we've got to help them defend themselves, right? So we're going to send you anti-air shit, right? So if anything comes over, you've got stuff to defend. But we're sending attacking stuff now. We're sending stuff that's actually used to attack them full on now, heavily. And it's getting heavier. This is the problem. And I don't know how Russia's going to respond to this. They're already threatening. I don't know what it will take for them to just say, okay, we've had enough now. At this point, it's literally who's going to drop the atomic bomb first? Will it be Trump, right? Or will it be Vlad, Putin? I mean, me personally, I'd say definitely Trump. You know what I mean? He's definitely going to... If anybody's going to drop them, Trump's going to do it. Trump's going to do it, ain't he? I'll drop the biggest bomb. Nobody drops an atomic bomb like I drop them. Do you see it now? Okay? We drop the greatest bomb. We've finished them again. I thought you'd already finished them, mate. I thought you'd already done it. Why are you dropping nuclear bombs? We're just showing you how great the USA is. But we thought you said you cared all about the Iranian people. Weren't that one of the first things you said when you went in there? Like you're just trying to free the Iranians. Is this your idea of freeing people? Just obliterating them all? It's great. It's mad. It's fucking mad. Why Moscow is focusing on Britain. Russia's warning is also significant because Britain has emerged as one of the European countries most willing to advocate sustained military support for Ukraine. Moscow has repeatedly warned Western governments that increasing military assistance risks direct confrontation with Russia. The latest statement follows that established pattern, but the introduction of British-made drones into long-range Ukrainian operations gives Moscow another opportunity to portray Western support as direct participation in the conflict. The Russian embassy said that the deeper Britain's involvement becomes, and the greater its support for Kiev, the higher the price it will pay. We are so fucked, people, if they kick off. The language is deliberately ambiguous. Russia did not specify what consequences Britain could face, leaving open the possibility of diplomatic retaliation, cyber activity, covert operations, or other forms of pressure. The ambiguity itself can serve as a strategic tool because it creates uncertainty without requiring Moscow to immediately commit to a specific response. The escalation dilemma. The central problem for Britain and its allies is that the Ukraine's ability to strike Russian territory can strengthen Kiev's position, while simultaneously increasing the possibility of escalation. Ukraine has used deep strike drones against Russian oil refineries and logistics facilities. Such attacks can disrupt Russia's military supply networks and energy infrastructure, potentially increasing the cost of continuing the war. But from Moscow's perspective, the involvement of Western-produced weapons changes the political calculation. If British systems are used to strike targets deep inside Russia, Moscow may argue that the distinction between supporting Ukraine and directly enabling attacks against Russia is becoming increasingly difficult to maintain. That creates a dangerous escalation cycle. Western weapons, deeper Ukrainian strikes, Russian retaliation threats, greater pressure on Western governments, potentially stronger Western support for Ukraine. The challenge is preventing that cycle from expanding beyond the battlefield. Britain is unlikely to retreat. Despite Moscow's warning, Britain's response indicates that London has little intention of changing course. The British Defence Ministry said Britain stands shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine and remains committed to providing the equipment Kiev needs to defend itself against Russian invasion. I think if we see a point where, like if they start saying we've got to have conscription in this country, that's a real warning that with bigger things are on the cards. And if we start sending like our military to fight them, and people start coming back in bags, you know, from this country, I think the people are going to have something really heavy to say. Now, whether the people will scream out, let's go to war with Russia, I don't know. I think the people are very unpredictable, to be fair. I never predicted them all putting on them face masks and social distancing and taking experimental jabs. I never for a minute thought they'd all, especially the masks, I never thought they'd really fall for that. So they're unpredictable, you know, and obviously the media would lie anyway, wouldn't they? Let's face it. They'd say that, oh yeah, there's full support by the British public. I don't support it at all. Not in the slightest, me. Let me know what you think. The position reflects a broader British calculation. Reducing military support could weaken Ukraine's ability to resist Russia, while potentially encouraging Moscow to believe that the Western resolve is declining. For London, therefore, the threat from Moscow may be viewed less as a reason to reduce support and more as evidence that military assistance is having an impact. The danger is that Russia could respond by attempting to impose costs on Britain outside the immediate battlefield, the wider European security calculation. The dispute also demonstrates how the Ukraine war is increasingly reshaping Europe's security environment. European governments are no longer simply debating how much military assistance Ukraine requires. They are confronting a harder question: how much direct involvement can European states provide without becoming parties to a wider conflict with Russia? Drones complicate the calculation because they blur traditional distinctions between defensive and offensive warfare. That's exactly what I said. It's gone from defensive now, in my opinion, to offensive. A relatively inexpensive unmanned system can cross hundreds of kilometres and strike infrastructure far from the front line. That means the geographical boundaries of war are becoming increasingly difficult to define. For Russia, Britain's expanding role could therefore become a justification for increasing pressure on British interests. For Britain, backing away could undermine Ukraine and weaken the broader European deterrent strategy. Well, your deterrent strategy isn't working. Russia is not going to stop. And you're saying you're not going to stop. So when an unstoppable object meets so what is that saying? When a unstoppable force meets a non-removable object, I can't remember how you say it. Somebody will type it in there for me. When you get them two forces together, what's going to happen? And that seems like where we are at the minute. You've got an immovable object and an unstoppable force, and the unstoppable force is going to hit into the unmovable object. What is the outcome of that? I think we're all going to see it soon. If we manage to get to, if we get to 2027, you know, the 1st of January 2027, we ought to really celebrate it. Honestly, more than you ever have before. Because things are just so changing, so fast, everywhere, in every way, in everything. What happens next? The immediate Russian statement does not necessarily mean Moscow is preparing for some direct military action against Britain. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that it's not. They've not put that, but it doesn't mean it's not. Russia has issued similar warnings throughout the war as Western countries have expanded their military assistance to Ukraine. But the frequency and intensity of these warnings underline a deeper problem. The boundary between indirect support and direct involvement is becoming progressively thinner. Britain's commitment to supplying Ukraine with large numbers of drones suggests that unmanned warfare will remain central to the conflict. As Ukrainian forces gain greater capacity to conduct long-range strikes, Russia will face increasing pressure to respond. The critical question will therefore be whether Moscow's response remains within the realm of political and asymmetric retaliation, or whether Russia attempts to impose direct costs on the country supplying these capabilities. For Britain, the strategic challenge is to maintain support for Ukraine without allowing military assistance to create an uncontrolled escalation pathway between NATO and Russia. The drone dispute may appear narrow, but it reflects a much larger transformation in the war. Western military support is increasingly giving Ukraine the ability to take the fight deeper into Russian territory, while simultaneously increasing the risks for the countries enabling that capability. And there we are. That's basically where we are. It's literally, in my eyes, going to be an unstoppable force hitting an immovable object. And that's going to, sparks are going to fly when that happens, isn't it? You know what I mean? Big bada boom, says Gunn. Defy Tyrants. COVID was an IQ test, and 70% of the world's population were proven to be dumb as a rock. Yeah. It's probably more than 70%, to be fair. There's a lot in this country, isn't there? There's a lot. They're all clueless, aren't they? They are really, let's face it, come on. Now, this, I had to laugh when I saw this. I found this to be extremely funny, right? Now, we've all heard of contrails, condensation trails, and I suppose most of us who watch this stream have heard of the thing, whether it's conspiracy theory or not, of chemtrails, chemical trails. Well, have a look at this bit of propaganda from the BBC. It's class. I haven't read it. I just read the headline and a little bit, and I thought, this has got to be done. AI to help planes avoid climate warming sky graffiti. You what?
What?
Sky graffiti. Sky graffiti. Are you fucking joking? They're calling it sky graffiti, people. Can you believe that? Sky graffiti. We've all looked up at up and seen the white lines trailing behind aircraft in the sky. Yeah. Known as contrails. No. For those of you who aren't aware, right, a contrail, right, a plane goes along, leaves a little white line, and as the plane goes along, the white line follows and it just disappears. Nowadays, and for many years now, when many planes go by, they leave massive long lines. And if you sit and watch those long lines, they spread out. They spread out and they spread out. And then the sky turns silver. Some call it cloud seeding. Others call it chemtrails. I call it absolutely trying to poison us all to death with geoengineering. Yeah, but they call it...
What?
I know, mate, I know. But they call it... what did they call it in the beginning? Sky graffiti. Sky graffiti. I've been alive for quite a lot of years now, right? And I've never seen... When I was a kid, you never saw sky graffiti. You never saw that. What's changed? Known as chemtrails, these icy clouds contribute to climate change, and scientists have been trying to work out how to stop them. You what? What do you mean, how to stop them? If they were icy, they'd vanish. They wouldn't spread out. They wouldn't be crisscrossing all over the... We've all seen it. But again, the majority of the normies who took all the things, they would believe anything, wouldn't they? Oh, you're a conspiracy. Did you take them jobs, mate? Yeah, well, I've got nothing to listen to from you. I've got nothing, mate, to listen to from you if you took them, right? I'm not doing it. Now, a £5 million UK trial will test whether AI can help by predicting where warming contrails are likely to form and getting planes to avoid those areas. Really? Are you fucking joking? It will focus on the Shanwick Oceanic airspace in the eastern half of the North Atlantic corridor, which accounts for approximately 5% of global contrail warming. Contrail warming. It's unreal what they're doing. The 30-month operation Blue Skies. Blue skies! You could call it shiny grey skies. Project brings together Google, the UK government, the Met Office, air traffic control provider, National Air Traffic Services, and researchers at the University of Cambridge and Imperial College London. Contrails? Do you mean chemtrails? Also known as vapor trails. Yeah, vapor vanishes, mate. Chemtrails don't vanish, mate. And it's not sky graffiti. It's poison, in my opinion. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Are made when the hot exhaust from aircraft engines meets the cold air at high altitude, creating ice crystals. You just can't, can you? You just can't. Many disappear quickly. Oh, here we go. Many disappear quickly. Yeah, they're called contrails, yeah. But in particularly cold and humid conditions, they can persist and spread, forming clouds which trap the heat that would otherwise escape from the earth. They're telling people are starting, the normies must be starting to notice. So they're having to explain it in some way. Now, this weren't a top story, but I think as time goes by and more people seem to get to see this, they're going to absolutely, they'll have to reinforce this stuff. They'll have to reinforce it. Because if there's people are just going to be noticing, there's going to be too many noticers. Many disappear quickly, but in particular, yeah. Right. Dr. Paul Hodson, Google's technical lead for the operation, told the BBC's Tech Live programme his 5-year-old has more colourful description for the white lines. Sky graffiti. We think that contrail warming is responsible for something like a third of all aviation climate warming, he said. Look at that picture. Look at that picture. That was never like that when I was a kid, ever. Anybody that's nearly as old as me or who can go back quite a few years and remembers looking up at the sky, did you ever see that? I'd say you didn't, because I certainly didn't. And we played out a lot when we were kids. Not like now. You can't go out because you're going to get nonced or kidnapped by some illegal or some other pedo or something. The project has a large problem. The project also comes as the government backs expansion of UK airports, raising the wider question of whether tech solutions can significantly reduce aviation's environmental impact as demand for flying grows. Why don't you all start calling for a halt to all these refineries being blown up in war? Why don't you all start calling for a halt to that if you're that concerned about the climate and the environment? Google is also one of many big tech companies spending billions on new data centres. The giant power-hungry banks of computer chips which power AI, which environmentalists are concerned will contribute even more to climate change. Climate change, for fuck's sake. The idea behind the trial is that if scientists can predict the areas of, Google, you'll use satellite images. Yeah, okay. This is then combined to weather patterns, forecast. Yeah, they're just saying it's ice crystals. It's ice crystals. It's not chemicals. The information will be passed, rather than dramatically changing the route of a flight. The trial will mostly involve changing the aircraft's altitude, This is something which already happens routinely to avoid turbulence, blah, 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 a net climate benefit, blah, 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 blah. Absolute blah, blah, if you ask me. Absolute. So there you go. Sky graffiti. It's not a conspiracy. It's just sky graffiti, everybody. You know, it's just crystals, ice crystals in the sky, sky graffiti that just spreads right out and then spreads across, and the whole lot blankets the sun. Nothing to do with Bill Gates saying he was going to block the sun. No, just keep the temperature of the... Remember when he said that? That ain't a conspiracy. They actually have been saying that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, it's not unbelievable because it's happening and we see it all the time. And then we got one last thing, just to cheer you up, no end. If you've got this far, please do subscribe. Please follow. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm nearly done. I'm nearly done. You know what I mean? Nearly finished. I know you missed me, but I'll be back tomorrow at 7 o'clock UK time. Let's have a look at this one then. UK job vacancies slipped to 5-year low in latest worrying sign for economy. Let's pack them all off to war, shall we? Vacancies in the UK jobs market have fallen from the lowest level since 2014, other than during COVID, with 6,000 fewer openings between May and July compared to the 3 months to April. While the overall unemployment rate remains steady at 4.9%, private sector pay growth has also fallen to 6-year low as the British economy struggles to escape concerns over the increased cost of labour. Is that Labour well, if it's Labour as in work, or is it Labour as the Labour Party, or is it all governments? The Office for National Statistics said its early estimates brings the level of job vacancies down to the lowest in more than 5 years, having slumped earlier in the year. In total, 707,000 job vacancies remained open. The ONS said its survey found that small firms may not be recruiting because of increased labour costs and other business expenses. The data also, and AI, no doubt, the data also revealed that regular average wage growth in the UK's private sector fell to 2.8% in the 3 months to June, the lowest level since the 3 months to October 2020. This is despite overall regular wage growth rising to 3.5%. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on Anyway, that's me. I've run out of time. You know, it is what it is. I know. It's all right. Don't worry. Yeah, so that's not all the news, obviously. Not all the news. There's loads of news. But they were the bits that I thought were interesting today. And no doubt there'll be something very interesting again, hopefully tomorrow. And I'll be back tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And I hope you're all well. And I hope to see many of you here. And I really hope somebody has subscribed, because nobody seems to. Oh, before I go, X is great. And NX great. So they banned me again. And I haven't even used it, right? So I appealed. And I got an email. And it said, this is the email. It said, we have reviewed your appeal and request for We have reviewed your appeal request for account GAZ X. Our support team has determined there was no violation and has restored your account to full functionality. Thanks, X support. And that was when I woke up this morning. But because they sent that during the night. And do you know what else they sent during the night after they sent that? They sent this. Hello, GAZ X. Your account, GAZ X, was reported and has been suspended for violating the X rules, specifically for violating our rules against inauthentic behaviours. You may not use our services to engage in unauthentic activity that undermines the integrity of X. Note that if you attempt to evade a suspension by creating new accounts, we will suspend your new accounts. If you wish to appeal this suspension, please contact our support team. If you have an active X Premium subscription, it will not be automatically cancelled by X. To cancel your X Premium subscription, follow these instructions. So they'll keep taking your money then. But I ain't got that anyway. But yeah, they just keep doing it. They put it back and then straight away they take it off me again. I don't know what's going on. It's very, very peculiar. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. God bless you all and take care. Much love. Peace.
We keep on moving. We keep on moving along. We keep on rolling. No, we ain't slowing it down.
We ain't slowing
keep
down.
on moving. We keep on moving along. We keep on rolling.
Yeah,
No, we ain't slowing it down.
let's go. We ain't slowing down, baby. Come and show me how. Gotta do it right now. You know you gotta hold me down. Can I let the moment pass? Good things they never last. never gonna let a lame say what they just made up. I never take a pay cut, we getting what we worth in. I never change the blueprint cause we know it's really working.
Keep on moving,
Moving,
we keep on moving along.
keep it moving, keep it
rolling.
rolling.
No, we ain't slowing it down.
Never slowing down,
Keep
never
on moving,
moving.
we keep on moving along.
Keep it moving, keep
on
it
rolling. No, we ain't slowing it down.
never gonna lose it. Cause we in it for the movement. If I'm lying, then I'm flying. Don't play into their amusement. If we trying, we ain't dying. Never sleep, never sleep, never. The moment that you rest your head, they think they can compete. If you gotta skip steps, then the plan is not complete. Get your reps in, get your reps in, get your. Never rest on a past success. You gotta love what you do if you tryna be the best.
Keep on moving,
Moving,
we keep on moving along.
keep it moving, keep it rolling.
We ain't slowing it down.
Never slowing down, never
Moving,
moving.
we keep on moving
Keep it
along.
moving, keep it moving, keep it rolling. Keep it rolling, keep it moving. We ain't never gonna lose it.
Who's been to Epstein Island, mate?